Welcome to the Lodge. From the riverbanks to the end zones, we're diving deep into everything that matters most to the colony. You're listening to State of the Beavers. I'm your host, Brian, and whether you're a diehard alum, a nature enthusiast, or just here for the ecosystem, we've got you covered. Today on the show, we're breaking down the latest headlines, checking the pulse of the community, and asking the big questions that define our state today. Grab your gear, a beer, and settle in. It's time to gnaw through the noise. This is the State of the Beavers, starting right now. This podcast is presented by Pine Valley Auto Group. From rugged trucks to everyday commuters, find your drive at Pine Valley.
Okay, so we've officially hit that point in the college football season. You know the one, where the championship picture feels less like a painting and more like an earthquake. Every single Saturday just completely reshapes the entire landscape, and yeah, Week 10 was a seismic event.
I mean, let's just dive right in. We had the #1 team in the entire country pushed to the absolute brink of a loss. At the same time, a top 10 powerhouse saw their playoff dreams pretty much just go up in flames. This is exactly the kind of chaos that defines a championship season.
So, that's the big question, right? After a weekend of complete and utter madness, who actually managed to navigate it all and seize control? Well, that's exactly what we're here to figure out.
To really get who's on top now, we have to start with the wreckage from last week. Let's take a look at the results that completely upended the rankings.
Just look at this. Out on the West Coast, you've got #9 Oregon getting stunned at home by Wisconsin. That loss, it knocks them completely out of the immediate title conversation. Meanwhile, #1 South Carolina found themselves in a 60-minute street fight with Alabama, and they barely escaped by 6 points. Right now, survival is the name of the game. And think about this for a second. Out of last week's top 10 teams, 2 of them either lost outright or won by just 1 score. That's how razor-thin the margin for error is at the top. 1 bad quarter, 1 missed field goal, and boom, your entire season can just evaporate. So, with some teams falling, of course others have risen to take their place. Let's meet the new royalty, the teams that now have the absolute clearest path to the playoff. Okay, so at #1, you've got the battle-tested South Carolina. At #2, the lone undefeated power, Texas Tech, who just keeps on rolling. And then, this is where things get really interesting. At 3 and 4, you've got SMU and Miami. 2 teams hurtling toward each other on a collision course that is going to define the entire playoff picture.
But you know, the chaos isn't just about the team rankings. The race for the sport's biggest individual prize, the Heisman Trophy, is every bit as intense and unpredictable.
So as it stands, SMU quarterback Kevin Jennings is the betting favorite. He's got about a 36% chance to win it. But just look at how crowded it is right behind him. This is so far from a one-man race. And this quote right here, it tells the whole story. While Jennings is out in front, you have Texas quarterback Arch Manning just lurking. The feeling is that he is just one huge performance on a big national stage away from completely taking this whole race over. And when you look at what they did last week, you see exactly why. The numbers, they're almost identical. Both guys had 4 total touchdowns. Manning had more total yards, sure, but Jennings got the all-important win for his team. This is a heavyweight fight, and it is going the distance. So where does all this lead? To next Saturday, of course. We are now heading into a week with games that are guaranteed, guaranteed to cause even more chaos and redefine this entire season all over again. And right at the top of that list is a game that feels, for all intents and purposes, like a playoff elimination game. And it's only the first week of November. And there it is, #3, SMU travels to #4 Miami. The winner here doesn't just get a top 5 win, they basically control their own path to a first-round playoff bye. And then elsewhere, you've got these classic rivalries like Penn State at Ohio State and a massive ACC clash between Clemson and Duke. The stakes are absolutely immense across the board.
All right, let's put all the pieces together. With all this chaos, what's the ultimate prize? What is everybody fighting for? It's a spot in the new 12-team playoff field.
And remember, in this new format, Finishing in that top 4 is a massive advantage. You get a first-round bye. That means you get a week of rest while everyone else is beating each other up, and you automatically advance to the quarterfinals. You're just 3 wins away from a national title. So if the season ended today, this is what the first round would look like. And you'd have some incredible matchups right out of the gate, right? Like Michigan traveling to Penn State, or BYU heading to Texas. There are no easy games here. It's an absolute gauntlet from the very beginning. And the 4 teams watching all that chaos from the comfort of their couches: South Carolina, Texas Tech, SMU, and Miami. Which, you guessed it, brings us right back to that monumental showdown. One of those last 2 teams is about to lose their golden ticket. But remember, none of this is permanent. This entire projected bracket is built on sand, and the tide of Week 11 is coming in fast. The only question left is, who's going to be the wave that washes it all away? I guess we'll find out on Saturday.
Welcome to the debate. So today, we are looking at the Oregon State Beavers. Under their first-year head coach, Caleb Ward, they've rocketed into the top 25. They're boasting a statistically elite defense and just came off this really confusing but electric 52-point explosion against a top-ranked Iowa State.
Yeah, I mean, electric is one word for it, sure. But when I'm looking at the architecture here, it looks like a house of cards. The central question for me today isn't just about the win column. It's whether this whole recalibration under Ward is some stroke of genius, or if it's really just built on, well, unsustainable turnover luck and a very depleted 2-team conference schedule.
And I'm taking the side of the architect here. I think Ward has successfully recalibrated this program. Look, this isn't luck, it's structural. It's about defensive dominance and, frankly, the boldness to manage a roster in real time.
And I'm going to argue the exact opposite. This record is a statistical anomaly. It's inflated by special teams variance, these so-called chaos plays, and a schedule that I think does a very good job of masking a struggling offense.
You call it a house of cards, but how do you explain Week 4 against Oregon? That wasn't luck. That was a 42-10 dismantling of a fierce rival. Ward's entire philosophy is beating them on Saturdays, not just winning some recruiting rankings. And just look at the defensive structure. Through Week 10, they are allowing, 15.9 points per game? Their Pac-2 counterpart Washington State is giving up 32.5. That kind of gap isn't variance. That is gap integrity, and a pass rush with 22 sacks. You just can't fake that.
The defense is sound, I will absolutely grant you that. But using let's be honest, a rebuilding Oregon team as your proof of concept is shaky at best. I look at Week 7 against Duke. When the ball didn't bounce their way, they lost 37-24. And that Iowa State blowout in Week 8, I mean, come on. That is the literal definition of a statistical mirage.
A mirage that put 52 points on the board?
Yes. Exactly. Look at how they scored. That's the whole point. You had a 98-yard kickoff return from Zachary Card. Then, and this is the key part, you had 2 defensive fumble returns for touchdowns, Omotosho and York, in the first quarter alone. They generated fewer than 400 yards of total offense, but scored 52 points. I mean, in the analytics world, we call that unsustainable. You cannot bank on the other team handing you 21 points every single week.
Okay, it's not about banking on it. It's about capitalizing on pressure. But if you want to talk about sustainability, let's look at the quarterback decision. This is where Ward earns his paycheck. Benching Malik Murphy for Gabari Johnson was a massive risk, but it shows elite adaptability.
I see it as internal instability. You bench a starter who has you at 5-1? Sure, Murphy had a total meltdown against Duke with those 3 picks, but relying on an unproven backup to save the season? That suggests to me that Ward knew his own blueprint wasn't really working.
But look at the immediate impact. Johnson didn't just manage the game against Iowa State. He started 10 for 10 passing. He finished with a 92% completion rate. And then against Arizona in Week 9, when the game was tight, he hits Trent Walker for an 84-yard touchdown. That is not just management. That is vertical explosiveness that Murphy wasn't providing. Johnson stabilized that offense.
That 84-yard play was spectacular, I agree. But it kind of highlights the whole issue. They rely on the Bible, their so-called modern offense. but it really just relies on Anthony Hankerson playing like a superhero. The guy has over 1,000 rushing yards and 11 touchdowns already. If he slows down, what's left? The regression is already showing. I mean, after blowing out Iowa State, they just scraped by Arizona 29-24.
Scraping by is exactly what Ward was hired to do, win with less. Hankerson isn't a crutch. He's the engine of a run game that travels well. And regarding the competition, Ward isn't hiding in the Pac-2. He envisions a fifth power conference, scheduling Liberty, Boise State, and a top-ranked Iowa State. These are deliberate moves to build credibility.
But the Pac-2 status absolutely inflates their metrics. They are essentially playing an independent schedule with a power conference patch on the jersey. Beating a group of 5 slate does not prove you're a national power. I just worry that once the turnover luck normalizes, and believe me, it always does, this team is going to struggle to score 20 points against a disciplined defense.
Well, we're going to find out. But right now, Oregon State has found a genuine identity. You can question the offense, but you cannot question a defense with 22 sacks and a run game that controls the clock. The recalibration is real because the results are undeniable. They are ranked number 25.
And I maintain that while the defense is legitimate, the offense is living on borrowed time. Relying on kick returns, scoop and scores, and 80-yard bombs is not a strategy. It's a lottery ticket. If Gabari Johnson can't generate consistent, boring drives, that ranking is going to disappear pretty fast.
It's a fascinating case study in roster management and game theory. We will all be watching to see if that efficiency holds up.
Welcome to Corvallis, Reser Stadium, home of the Oregon State Beavers. As we'll see a team from the Pac-12, the Washington State Cougars, taking on the 25th ranked team in the land, the Oregon State Beavers. For EA Sports College Football, I'm Reese Davis, joined here in the booth by David Pollack and Jesse Palmer. And guys, let's get this thing started. And the Beavers will put total leather to crank us up. Coming out with it, it's Freeman. I imagine he's going to get an earful on the sideline after bringing it out of the end zone and being knocked down at the 11. So Washington State's offense will go on the attack first. As we take a quick look at the impact players for today's game, what players did you guys look to for motivation to make an impact during your playing days, Jesse?
Well, it was the guys we relied on each and every week. We came into the season expecting these types of guys to be our biggest weapons, and every week those were the guys that had to deliver for us in order to have success.
And it's just fun to have those guys that are consistent. Like, they lead by example, then they start to learn their voice and lead the team. But every week, guys that you can count on. They punch the clock, and they're hard workers.
Looking to the big tight end. And the pass is incomplete, jarred loose by the hit. Guys, let's take a minute and talk a little Washington State. By the end of the day, one of these two teams will control their conference destiny the rest of the way. Potential bye in the college football playoff on the line. This game critical at this point in the season for both teams.
And so much talent in this game, too. Outstanding coaching staffs, NFL talent on both teams going into this one. David, this might be a rematch in the conference championship game. We might get to see this matchup again.
And it's so nice to have two teams playing so well at the top of their conference. You know this game matters. There's no sleepwalking into this game. You see the numbers at the top of the conference. It's you and it's them. Who's going to come out today?
The Beavers offense will try to get something started with their first possession. From the gun, they'll try to impose their running game. Oh, he's got some space. He puts him in business across the 50 into the 46-yard line. It'll be first down. They moved the chains on the ground last time. Let's see if they try to hit him up top. Might as well give it to him again. And he has a solid gain before the defense bottles him up.
And I kind of like how the running back didn't mess around. Like, just get downhill when you see an opening. A lot of times they close so fast, man. Be decisive, stick your foot in the ground, pick up 3 to 4, and we are not going to complain.
his man last time, and that leaves him with a 3rd and 6. Johnson looking to throw. Hauls it in. He's going to come up a couple of yards short of the 1st down. Boy, if they don't convert this 4th down, there will be questions to be answered. Needs it to keep this drive alive. Drag down, but they'll move the sticks for a 1st down.
I think it's really important for this offense. They get this guy going early in the game, and they're doing a nice job of that right now. Remember, he's the kind of running back who gets better as the game goes on. That's a really good omen for this offense, considering his success now early.
You know, QBs want to make those big plays. They want to put up the big stats, but when nothing's there, sometimes you just tuck the ball, get a minimal gain. I like the slide, by the way, too. Get down and don't take a big hit.
He's got it. The ball is down at the 14 after that grab. Going to work in the red zone. They can't pick up the 1st down without getting it into the end zone. The give out of the gun. Got enough space. And he waltzes in for the score. Touchdown, Beavers!
The offense goes as he goes, so really no surprise in the opening drive. They keep feeding him the football. He showed you all of his ability on that TV.
They get set for the point afters. We have the 1st score of the game. And he's got the extra point, and it's 7-0 to start this one. That drive covered.
Up, getting them on the ground, take away that run game, make them one-dimensional, put them in passing situations. Really good job by the defense.
Trying play action. And the quarterback caught up to and sacked at the 12.
And the defense gets a sack, and that's going to be the big determining factor in this football game. A week ago, he only got sacked 1 time. They've already got him on the ground. If they want to win this football game, they got to keep getting after the quarterback.
Now a lot of work to do to move the chains, keep this drive alive after that earlier sack. On 3rd and long, you'll have to turn it loose deep. Just gets rid of it before the heat. And they can't make the play on 3rd down.
We talked to the coaches coming into this one. They know field position was going to be a huge factor for them winning this one. They had a really nice punt earlier in this game. Great job getting down and covering it. Won't surprise me if they decide to play it safe again here on 4th.
And the punt team gets down there and gets the return man on the ground. Oregon State has it back, and here comes the Beaver offense. Already a solid start to this one. Now back to work with this 7-0 lead. Johnson wants to throw it. Fires to the middle. Finds the big tight end. And this defense's head is spinning. He gets it down to the 27.
Important in the passing game that it's not just receivers doing all the work. You got to get running backs involved. You got to get your big fellas. You got to get the tight ends going too.
Out of the gun to give to the back. Finding an escape route. Nice pickup on the ground there. They'll move the sticks with the 1st down.
And running backs are so good, so talented, so elusive. You see nowadays they really have the ability to make you miss, run you over. Unbelievable effort. Nice job. You keep that going, you're going to be hard to stop.
Inside the 15, 1st and 10 from the 14. They'll give it to him again. He rumbles all the way down to the 2-yard line. He gave him a little bit of everything on that one.
How about that for efficiency if you're on this offense right now? 3 plays, 3 1st downs. They get that one running the football. Great vision and open field running ability. Everything they're doing.
And he'll step into the end zone. Touchdown, Oregon State.
Man, you've seen the evolution of the option. You've seen the evolution of the scrambling quarterbacks that can run and be so dynamic and just so much to defend. The quarterback says, forget that. You defend everything, I'll take it myself. In for 6.
And the Eckhart's on the play.
One of the things I like about this defense is their DBs are not afraid to put their face in the fan and go tackle. And you saw it that time with the quarterback making a great play, tackling the quarterback on the option for a big loss.
And a big deflection on third down forces a fourth down. Washington State sends the punt team onto the field. Let's see if he can help the coverage team out with this one. And the punt team able to smack him to the ground. Oregon State takes over, ready to send the offense onto the field. They put 2 touchdowns on the board in the early going, and now right back to work. Off the play fake on first down to throw. Trying to escape and get it himself. He's into plus territory, knocked out of bounds after the nice game, marking at the 47.
It's going to be tough on this defense containing this guy because he's got that sixth sense to get outside the pocket, and at that point, he's throwing it and hurting you, or you can take off and run. That time able to get the first down. Big challenge for the defense moving forward.
Got him downfield. Touchdown, Beavers! And once he found open space, the band might as well start playing. They've got the lead and trying to put this one in a hammerlock here in Week 10.
This offense is looking ridiculous. 3 touchdowns now in the first quarter, doing whatever they want at will. I don't know if you're panicking, Palmer, but, I mean, they got to put something together on the other side of the field or else this one's going to get ugly fast.
One thing I know, David, is the defensive staff, after having the ball just run down their throat, thrown up over their heads, they need to make some adjustments earlier than they probably anticipated. Because right now, they have no answers for this offense.
They largely dominated. First down here for the offense. He'll pull it on the read. And the defense holds firm. No pickup at all on that play. So now it's 2nd and long. Handoff to the single running back. Powers through the defender. Oh, he was in the backfield immediately. A 3-yard loss. It'll be 3rd and long. Here's the handoff. Running to Green. There he goes. And they'll move the chains and get it to the 47-yard line.
3rd and long, I'm thinking bring in extra DBs, play for the pass, rush the passer, and this offense flips the script, runs the football right at him. Nice job by this offense catching him off guard, making the big play, getting the first down with the run.
This is going to be a key that we look at this entire game. How can this defense find ways to affect this quarterback and get pressure on him? Because they felt coming into the game, if they could do that, they could affect him and influence this passing game.
Bring in the heat. That pressure got to him, and he just had to chuck it out of bounds. Now facing a 3rd and long. Back in motion, try to clear the picture. Gets it to the back. He ended up going backwards on the play, and they will not convert that 3rd down. Washington State sends out the punt unit. Gets it away, good distance, but more importantly, just the direction he
Having their way.
The Beavers, after ripping off that huge run, let's see if they can do it again. Johnson looking to throw. Fakes to grab. And the defense had that one well covered, just a short gain there.
And I love when my quarterback sees zoned and knows exactly where to go with the football. Sees the wide receiver running the drag route, knows when to throw it, pulls the trigger for the easy completion.
Wide receiver going in motion. Wants to go up top. Got a man. It's Hankerson. Brought down at the 32-yard line. Picks up 15 yards on the play and an important first down. They built this offense around finding mismatches and just get the ball to the back and let him do his thing.
Yeah, it didn't have to be long down the field. Like it threw it right near the line of scrimmage, but you know I got a guy, when he gets in space, he can make big plays happen. Nice decision by the QB.
Well, the quarterback was in a world of trouble there. He was under pressure. He knew he was going to get hit, so he's just trying to get rid of it, but he forced it into double coverage. He's lucky that was only an incompletion.
They're dealing with a 2nd and long. Wants to keep it in the air. Grabbed behind the line. It's Hankerson. Stop is made at the 22. A 10-yard pickup and a first down just outside the red zone. That is a time-honored way to slow down the rush, hit him with the screen, and a chunk play.
Yeah, such a great job because you're flying up the field to get to the quarterback because everything looks like...
Turning it on. He goes out of bounds right at the 10-yard line, and the offense can smell the touchdown from here.
1st and 10, the whole menu open. You can run the football, you can do whatever you want. You can tell they call a pass. He does a really good job in the pocket, just being a great athlete. Scramble outside, go get another first down, 1st and 10 again.
I love the quick decision the QB made there on that RPO, knowing he wanted to get it out of his hands fast. He just needs to make a more accurate throw moving forward.
Going to work on 2nd down in the red zone is still some ground to cover to pick up that first down. Johnson wants to throw it. This time on target. And he motors into the end zone. Touchdown, Oregon State.
Well, this thing's turning into a rout, and it's turning into a rout quickly. Really nice job by the offense there, but it's not just them. Their defense is getting it done. Their special teams are getting it done, and it just feels like they're really feeding off of this home crowd and their energy. This has been the definition of home field advantage in this football game.
They'll try to tack one more on their score. And the extra point makes it 28-0. We check in
here in studio, guys.
Oh, and how about that? I know Kevin and those guys will be keeping an eye on it for us. Got to be smart, patient, great vision, uses all of that to get to the 29.
Man, when I can run the football like that on 1st down and create 2nd and inches and stay way ahead of the sticks and be in a position now where I can throw the football or run, I will have a lot of success on the offensive side of the football.
Looks as if that'll be enough to give Washington State a first down. So they move the sticks on the run. Let's see what they do with this one. The give to the running back from the shotgun. And this one will be stopped for no gain.
Really nice penetration by this defense, getting in there immediately, causing the running back to have to go a direction he doesn't want to go. And this defense has started the game so good. Several drives, no points allowed, and setting the tone on this drive.
Try to make up for some of that lost ground on 2nd down. Looking to fire. He's got an open man. Breaks into the open. Across the 50-yard line on the huge pickup, and he's out of bounds at the 45. This offense has been sluggish, to say the least, but finally they're on the move on 1st and 10. To the air on 1st down. And he just flat dropped it. I think he wanted to run before he secured it.
Well, it doesn't get any more open than that. Good read by the quarterback. He was looking for his tight end. Wide open on the play. Man, you got to make the catch.
Motion from the wide receiver. They'll go to work in the air on 2nd down. Fires downfield. Complete downfield. Run out of bounds at about the 13-yard line, and that's where this offense will go back to work.
I know this isn't the start the offense wanted. They don't have any points so far in this game, but sometimes it just takes one explosive play to turn things around. And after that beautiful completion deep for the offense, that should give them a little confidence, a little momentum. They've now got to be able to score points on this drive.
The Cougars have put themselves in dire straits after that last play. It's 2nd and a mile. Back to pass. Under fire. Pressure is on the way, and the pressure has arrived, and down he goes at the 30.
Well, this is a quarterback who's not known for his running ability, obviously. We've seen him make some great throws, but mobility, that's probably not on your bingo card, and you saw it right there. He gets brought down for the sack.
Now a lot of work to do to move the chains, keep this drive alive after that earlier sack. Fires to the wideout. Intercepted. Big play stops the drive. He managed a few yards on that return, but the bigger play was the fact that they forced the turnover.
And that time the defense in 3rd and long, 6 DBs on the field. There's not going to be anywhere to throw the football with that zone coverage. They do a great job reading the quarterback's eyes, David. They break on the ball for the pick.
Yeah, great job forcing the 3rd and long, predictable situation. Like you said, now you got them right where you want them. You practice those situations, all those extra DBs, and they make the big play.
They'll snap it from the 20 for the opening play of this drive. Johnson looking to throw. Here's the pressure. Picked off. What a play to set him up. He goes down after the short return, but what a play to get the football back.
And that's a play the defense absolutely had to have. They've given up some big plays in this first half, and they're down on the scoreboard right now. Something positive needed to happen. Maybe that's
a fumble. Defense covering it up and not letting the offense get it back. It's how they play it in this final 30 seconds of the first half. Here comes the heat. He found a little opening and got loose. They couldn't stop him in the backfield, so a solid pickup there. Second and short, maybe looking for a shot. Got his man to the left. They'll use a timeout right before halftime. Maybe time for 1 or 2 more plays. Just a few seconds remaining here as they try to put something up before halftime. Wants to throw on first down. Makes the catch. He's all the way down to the 27-yard line, and they are threatening. Timeout called by the offense, and now they just have 1 remaining in the half. Just a few seconds to go here in the first half, and they'll send out the field goal team. Absolutely center cut. And they just tack on a little more to this gargantuan lead. We've played 2 quarters here. Time to go to Kevin Connors in our halftime update.
Guys, you've been calling a lively one from there in Corvallis. And talk about a first half for the dude in that backfield. That coaching staff has been giving rave reviews on a weekly basis. And through 2 quarters today, he's been a complete game changer. He's breaking the will of this defense, and that's something that's just very tough to quantify. And with that, let's send it back to the fellas inside Reser Stadium.
Welcome to the debate. We are looking at a halftime score that frankly just defies all logic this season. Oregon State 31, Washington State 0. It's week 10, the Beavers are ranked 25th, and they have completely taken apart a Cougars offense that came into this game averaging over 31 points. So for me, this shutout, it validates everything Coach Caleb Ward, the architect, has been preaching about recalibration.
It is a shocking scoreline, I'll absolutely grant you that. But I have to say, the 0 on the Washington State side is doing a lot more heavy lifting in this story than the 31 on the Oregon State side. While you're seeing brilliance, I'm seeing just a total implosion by the opponent.
Okay, I have to push back on that immediately. You can't just dismiss 290 total yards in 30 minutes of football as an implosion. What we're seeing is a team that has finally, actualized its potential. They are averaging a staggering 11.2 yards per play. Just think about that for a second. Statistically, they are getting a first down every single time they snap the ball. This isn't just luck. This is the arrival of the offense Ward promised, and it's spearheaded by that switch to Gabari Johnson at quarterback.
I see why you think that, but let me offer a different perspective. That 11.2 figure, that's what we call unsustainable variance. You have to look at the other side of the ledger here. Washington State has managed exactly 6 first downs. Their rushing attack is averaging just a dismal 2.1 yards per carry. You can't claim offensive genius when the opponent is practically handing you the game through sheer incompetence. I mean, this isn't 2 heavyweights trading blows. This is one fighter who refuses to even put their hands up.
That's an interesting point, though I'd frame it a bit differently. You have to look at why they're struggling. It all starts with the dynamic change at quarterback. Gabar Johnson is 10 of 14 for 148 yards, sure, but it's his legs that change the entire math of the game. He has 49 yards rushing and a touchdown on the ground. That dual threat capability, it stresses a defense in ways Malik Murphy just couldn't. And look at that sequence right before the half. Johnson throws an interception, a mistake, yes, but after the defense forces a fumble, he immediately shakes it off and drives them for a field goal. That shows a resilience we have not seen from this team all year.
I'm just not convinced by that because it ignores the context of that interception. Johnson was hit as he was throwing the ball. Now, against a disciplined defense, that error is a momentum killer, maybe even a pick six. He got bailed out because Washington State fumbled on the very next play. And as for his passing numbers, that 48-yard touchdown to Taz Reddick's, I mean, come on, that was a massive coverage bust. It seems to me Johnson is benefiting from a secondary that looks completely lost, not necessarily dissecting them with surgical precision.
But you can only play the team in front of you, and they are dismantling them. Which brings me to the defense. You call it WSU incompetence, I'm calling it absolute domination. They have held a high-powered offense to 16% on third downs. R. Davis is everywhere. 7 tackles, a tackle for loss. This proves Ward's whole philosophy. You don't need to beat them in recruiting. You need to beat them on Saturdays. They are just physically overwhelming Washington State at the point of attack.
I come at it from a different angle. Look at Z. Eckhouse's stat line for Washington State. A 42% completion rate, a quarterback rating of 68.7, but the real story is the negative 21 rushing yards. That's not just an elite pass rush. That is a quarterback holding onto the ball way too long and making catastrophic decisions. When an offense generates less than 100 total yards in a half, well, that's a failure of execution on their part just as much as it is a success for the defense.
I think you're being a bit uncharitable to the scheme they're running, but let's zoom out. This halftime score, it justifies Ward's aggressive talk about forming a fifth power conference. Beating a team like Washington State this badly, turning a pier into a punching bag, it shows that Oregon State belongs in the playoff conversation. They're proving they can blow out quality opponents, not just scrape by.
That is a compelling narrative, I'll give you that, but relying on these massive chunk plays is dangerous. It feels like a statistical anomaly. This has shades of that Iowa State game in Week 8 where, fumble recoveries fueled the whole blowout. One dominant half against a team playing its absolute worst football does not suddenly fix the structural recruiting disadvantages that Ward himself admitted to.
Well, it might be variance, or it might be a new standard of efficiency. When you combine Johnson's 71% completion rate with a running game that's humming, you have a multi-dimensional attack that is incredibly hard to stop. I think this is the new Oregon State.
And I see a perfect storm of opponent failure and some very favorable bounces. It's a spectacular result, no doubt, but I remain pretty skeptical that this specific level of dominance is something they can reproduce week in and week out.
Well, regardless of the cause, a 31-0 halftime lead is just impossible to ignore. It suggests there's much more to explore in Coach Ward's vision than just talk.
Indeed. Whether this is a legitimate arrival or just a one-off exploitation of a really bad matchup, that remains the question.
This segment is powered by our friends over at Castor and Cask Brewing Company. When the day's work is done and the dam is secure, there's only one way to wind down. Located in the heart of the valley, Castor and Cask is craft brewing with a wild side. From their award-winning Log Jam IPA to the smooth, dark Muddy Bank Stout, every pint is brewed with local hops and mountain-fed water. It's crisp, it's refreshing, and it's earned its place at the top of the food chain. Whether you're celebrating a big win or just cooling off after a long haul, head down to the tap room and tell them the lodge sent you. Castor and Cask Brewing Company, respect the river, drink the beer.
The Cougars will kick it away first, and we'll start the second half. Here he comes from inside his own 5. He was hoping for something a little more dynamic, but they get him on the ground at the 20. Oregon State takes over, ready to send the offense onto the field. Not sure they had to adjust much as they'll try to build on this lead. They'll open the second half on the ground. Tripped up at the 25 after picking up 4. Halfway there on first down, it's 2nd and 5. Johnson wants to throw it. He'll pull it down and run. Oh, what a cut! How about this sophomore learning when to just do it himself?
And I really like the job by this offense because, listen, you've got the lead. Be smart with the football. You drop back, it's a scramble. The quarterback pulls it down, makes the play. Nice job. This is how you play with the lead. Take what the defense gives you and don't make mistakes.
Stop behind the line, he'll lose a yard.
Man, when you go into the half and you're down, like, that speech is usually pretty fiery. A lot of words you can't use on television. And so this coaching staff probably challenged their guys, and I like the way they started this second half so far. Physically, flying around, doing a great job stopping the run. They got to play like this the rest of the game.
It's so important that this offense is able to stay on schedule. And what that means is keeping third downs manageable. That last completion to the tight end accomplished just that. Really nice play call.
Finds his man. It's Walker. They'll finally drag him down, but not before he gets it to the 40, and it's a first down. The Beavers are on the move. From the gun, running back gets to give. Across the 25. An explosive play in the running game as he's got the first down.
And that's another productive run. This offense has had a bunch of them today, and the running back, I think this lead was built on this guy. He's done a great job all game long, setting the tone, and I think that's why this offense has been successful.
Quick strike complete. The ball is down at the 14 after that grab.
Great play by the cornerback. He was just way too physical at the point of attack. He beat his man trying to block him, and he tackled that receiver on the screen.
They'll try the right side. Stopped at the 13-yard line as the drive continues. How bold will they be on third down after that last run? Johnson looking to throw. Got some room, headed to the goal line. And he'll finish the run in the end zone. Touchdown, Beavers!
It's a phenomenal effort on third down by the QB, but how about the blocking? When that play broke down, look at the receivers running routes. They all of a sudden turned around, and they went and got some blocks to help out their QB. You gotta love that.
Lining up for the PAT. And the extra point will tack another one onto this lead. They put together an 81-yard drive, and the capper came on the run to the end zone from the 13. And he'll bring it back. He had a vision of generous, David.
Yeah, like a nonprofit, man, like a charity, giving the football away too much. Got to take care of the football, Jesse. Otherwise, you got no shot to win this football game.
You're right, man. At this level of college football, it doesn't matter how talented you are. It doesn't matter who you're playing. If you're sloppy and you put the football on the ground or you throw picks, you're going to find yourself behind on the scoreboard.
He'll run it again. Makes a man miss. That may not look like a huge run, but they'll take it as it gets him up to the 24.
You love to see this on offense. Early in drives, getting that kind of yardage keeps you ahead of the chains.
They'll snap it from the gun on third down. And this is dropped. Incomplete pass. He had a huge gain in his fingers, and he couldn't hold on. Washington State will have to boot it away. They've been busy out there to punt for the 5th time today. Nestles it in at the 35. That's a perfect example of not...
Oh, and they did a really nice job closing the window. The intended target was not open, and that's why that one fell incomplete.
That's how you come up and make plays as a defense, man. Playing physical, playing downhill. They've given up some plays today, man. He's got over 100 yards on the day. He's really had some success. But on that play, really downhill, really physical, and a nice job getting him to the ground.
He is stopped at the 47-yard line, and that's not nearly enough to move the chains.
Yeah, And I think if I'm a QB, I like the decision. I get it to my running back who's really good after the catch, who's really good with the ball in his hands, but the defense did the job. They got him on the ground. They gave up some yards, but they forced the fourth down.
He might want another play. They're throwing for it on fourth down. And it's going to be batted down. They'll turn it over on down. Makes the grab. Knocked down immediately, but a nice pickup on that one.
And that RPO play was run to perfection. The run fake forced and sucked the defense up, and a nice job on the route by the receiver, not telegraphing that he was breaking to the inside on the slant.
A little screen to the running back. They'll make the stop, but not before they use the screen beautifully and pick up the first down. The Cougars are marching down the field. Handoff from the gun. Trucks through the defender. Drives into the defense, and they get him down after a pickup of 3 to the 16. That's the end of the period, and Oregon State has the lead. Let's take a quick look at the national rankings to see how this playoff race is shaping up. So will the beatdown continue, or is this a comeback for the ages in store? We'll see as we start the fourth. It'll be second down as we open the final stanza. They'll run play action. Runs through the tackle. Quarterback feeling the pressure, and down he goes at the 22.
When it's a play-action pass, that quarterback, he really has to sell the fake. He can't tell his offensive lineman's getting beat right away while he's selling the fake. He had no shot.
The defense all revved up after that earlier sack, and they'll try to stop them right here. On third and long, hoping to throw beyond the sticks. A shot toward the end zone. Oh, he had it. The deep ball was there, and it just trickled through his fingers. Down by multiple possessions. You can't come up empty on this drive. They'll go for it on fourth down. Throws toward the end zone. It's picked off, and they ruin the drive with a turnover.
And that's a really good job by the defense, understanding the situation of football. It's fourth down. It's late in the game. You got a multi-possession lead. Take away all the deep stuff. Make them force the football into coverage. They do, and they stamp this game.
Oregon State takes over, ready to send the offense onto the field. They've got it back after that last drive stalled out, and they were stopped on fourth down, David.
Yeah, and they put a little bit of a drive together, but, Jesse, they stalled on the other side of the field, and they got to find a way to keep that momentum going as they get closer to the end zone.
I agree. I do like their mindset, though, and I think they need to continue being aggressive moving forward in this game.
Johnson looking to throw. Unloads to the wideout. Connection to the right. How about this senior picking up some yardage and making a nice play on that one?
You know, I love offensive coordinators that want to stay aggressive, and they've come up with big plays all game long. It's a big reason why they have this lead right now, and they're not backing off here in the fourth quarter. They're letting their guys go play. The entire playbook is open to them, and they're taking shots.
Looking for room at the 40. He gets those chains moving, gets it out to the 42-yard line.
This guy's been special today. Coming into this one, they thought they had an opportunity really to get him going, running the football, and he has delivered. You've seen the speed, the vision, his ability to break tackles. Well over 100 rushing yards in this game, and that's why they have a nice lead here late.
And he doesn't find much running room, a short gain on the play.
And here's the mindset if you're on offense. Fourth quarter, you've got a huge lead. Obviously, you're going to run the football, but just be aware of the clock. You don't want to snap it too quickly. You're probably just doing safe runs inside the tackles like you saw right there. You just got to execute. You got to...
Breaks away on the left. Touchdown, Oregon State. And they take it in for
points and more points. This offense has had their way. They just keep their foot on the gas, keep putting up points, keep putting up touchdowns. And you know what? This is one of those stats days. You look back and you're like, that guy had 12 touchdowns on the year. Well, 4 or 5 of them might have been in this game.
Lining up to tack one more onto that lead. And he splits the uprights on the extra point.
Big 12 clash of the Titans, guys.
And how about that one? Kevin will be keeping an eye on everything going on elsewhere. A collision, and he stopped at the 27 after picking up 1.
The big fella in the middle, man. Those defensive tackles, they go such a long way in deciding and really stopping the other team's run game. Just forcing contact with those guards and those
Oh, he's got some space. Good, solid pickup on that one. They've got it out to the 40, and it's first down. Looks as if we have an injury on that last play, and we'll take a break to check him out. Now from the 40, it's 1st and 10. He'll keep it himself. They'll knock him down for a loss of a couple.
Yeah, and this offense, man, they just continue to struggle. And just, they need to find something that they do really, really well. And running the football late in the 4th quarter when you're getting beat by a good bit, that's probably not it. This offense needs to hit the gas, and they need to pitch and catch a little bit and throw the football around.
At this point in the game in the 4th quarter, it is going to be tough for this offense to get some completions here because now, trailing by this much, the defense is expecting pass, and they're putting a whole bunch of extra DBs on the field to help them out in coverage.
On 3rd and long, doesn't need to take the check down. What a play by this defense, and they stop him short. It'll be 4th down. Washington State sends the punt team onto the field. And these guys have been busy. 6th punt of the day. He'll field the punt and try to make something happen. Lead, they're ready to just drain the clock in victory formation. After not really playing their best earlier this season, people said this team is bad. Now they won 3 in a row. This team is good. People were fickle.
Yeah, and we're probably the ones who were saying that a little bit, Reese, because they were struggling. It didn't look like they knew who they were, and they didn't have the momentum going. But now they've definitely got it together, Jesse, and they look like a different team.
They sure do, David. We know teams get better or they get worse over the course of a season. This team right now, completely different. Almost the polar opposite than what we saw earlier this year. And I'll tell you.
Welcome to the debate. Today, we're digging into Oregon State's Week 10 performance. I mean, a 45-0 shutout of Washington State is, on its face, a masterclass. But the real question is, does this signal that Coach Caleb Ward's recalibration is complete, or is it just masking the problems of playing in, a depleted conference? I'm arguing this performance proves they've hit a championship standard.
And I'm going to take the other side of that. Because when you look past that lopsided score, you have a head coach who went out and explicitly told everyone this isn't the championship team. I think the stats are inflated by a weak opponent, and the program's actual future is, well, a lot more fragile than that scoreboard makes it seem.
Okay, let's start with what we can actually measure. The box score shows total domination. This isn't just a win. Oregon State put up 520 yards of offense, averaging, get this, 10.2 yards per play. I mean, anything over 7 is elite. 10 is just, it's almost unheard of in conference play. And on the other side, they held Washington State to just 146 total yards. But the real story here is Gabari Johnson. The modern offense Ward promised is no longer a concept, it's here. Johnson had 5 touchdowns, 338 total yards. This is exactly what success looks like in modern college football.
The numbers are impressive, I'll give you that. But they're also happening in a vacuum. You just can't analyze those stats without looking at Washington State's defense, which was already, pretty porous. They were giving up over 439 yards a game before this. So shredding a weak defense isn't a standard. It's the bare minimum you'd expect. But my real issue is structural. You have to listen to Coach Ward himself. He didn't sound like a guy building a dynasty. He told his players, and I'm quoting, to use me to get further in life. In the age of the transfer portal, that's a really dangerous thing to say. He's basically advertising Oregon State as a stepping stone, not a destination.
I see that honesty differently. I think that's the currency that gets players to buy in these days. But let's stick to the game itself. You're dismissing the stats, but look at the quality of the plays. Johnson had a 72% completion rate. That 56-yard touchdown to Trent Walker wasn't some lucky, broken coverage play. It was a perfect throw. Unlike Malik Murphy, who was more of a game manager, Johnson is. He's a force multiplier. His ability to run for 81 yards freezes linebackers, and that's what opens up those big passing lanes. That advantage works against any defense, not just Washington State.
It works until your margin for error is 0. You talk about precision, but I also saw some recklessness. Johnson threw an interception because he got hit mid-throw. Against Wazoo, okay, it's a minor detail, but you do that against a top 25 defense in a bowl game, and that's the turnover that costs you everything. This modern offense demands split-second decision-making that I'm just not sure is fully baked yet. And Ward knows it. That's why he's trying to manage expectations. He knows a 45-0 win can create complacency on a roster that really doesn't have a lot of depth.
And I argue the defense is the insurance policy for that. I mean, holding a team to 1.5 yards per rush, that's just suffocating. They forced 3 turnovers. When your defense can basically score for you or at least set you up on the 3-yard line like they did after that Patterson interception, your quarterback doesn't have to be perfect. That defensive reliability is what makes a program sustainable long-term.
But is it sustainable or is it just a sales pitch? This gets to his whole hostile takeover comment. He's out there publicly talking about forming a 5th power conference with teams like Boise State and Fresno State. He's using this defensive dominance as political capital to make the Pac-12 remnants look legitimate. He knows that beating Washington State, no matter the score, isn't enough to get a seat at the big table. The 45-0 win is a brochure for conference realignment, not really a blueprint for a national championship run.
Sure, but you can only play the teams on your schedule. You can't hold the state of the conference against them. The fact that they had 26 first downs to Washington State's 9, that shows a team that has just outgrown its environment both physically and schematically. Call it political capital if you want, but the execution on the field was disciplined. You don't just accidentally win a game 45-0. That points to a culture that's ready for a bigger stage right now.
And yet, the man who built that culture is telling all of us not to believe the hype. Ward's brutal honesty about his roster's lack of depth, that's the real story here. One big outlier game doesn't change the fact that they're basically on an island in college football. The recalibration isn't done until they have a stable home and a roster that's deep enough to actually survive there.
The stats say they're ready today. The performance was nothing short of elite.
And the context says they're still a work in progress. The real fight is happening off the field.
We'll leave it there for you to decide. I'd suggest you look at the box score right alongside the coach's press conference transcript.
And that's a wrap on this edition of State of the Beavers. Thanks for spending some time in the lodge with us today. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to subscribe on your favorite platform and leave us a review. It really helps the colony grow. Big thanks to our production team and, most importantly, to you for listening. Keep building, keep grinding, and we'll catch you on the next one. Until next time, this has been the State of the Beavers. Stay sharp out there.